Wow.
Wow.
Wow, this is some really deep stuff.
I don't know what just happened, but something happened inside of me. Something snapped. Something.
I wasn't expecting that either.
Sorry.
It's okay. It's all right. It's beautiful.
Monster is like really small, but it had to become that to stop me.
Because then the hurt child became present when you mentioned it.
And I didn't realize this until now.
There were things that I didn't remember until now.
Funny. I haven't seen that before.
And it feels like I'm the monster. I'm kind of seeing images of things. Of a world where they can exist. This clarity brings all kinds of answers.
It's clear. She hugged me and then went back to her place, I guess, in my heart. Oh, it wants to come out. It wants to bippity boppity boop Cinderella me. She's melted into my chest. It's ooey gooey.
All week been finishing things, cleaning up more, started eating vegetables again last week. And it kind of just started happening. It's almost like I just finished going through a meditation session.
I feel light. When you hit that first joint, in the morning, and
I actually feel a lot more awake.
All right. So are there any parts that have come up for you recently?
Yes. I tried to pick an easy one for your first time doing this. And I noticed when Dick Schwartz does it with new people, he often asks them to find an inner critic. So I was thinking about inner critics, and I'm not really sure which part is which. There's a few at work here, but it's around money, and I guess if there's a critic part, it's critical of the fact that I don't spend like I should. I kind of, I don't know. I live too much below my means. Yeah. And then I have this part that's always putting myself down, or critical of that. Hey, you could just spend your way out of that problem and not waste so much time on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And generally when that part comes out, where do you feel it most in your body?
It feels like it's at my back, kind of pushing me, pushing me off the diving board. I'm trying to go slower.
Okay. And how would you say that you feel towards this part?
Well, I have a lot of feelings towards it. One, I'm kind of embarrassed to even talk about it. It's I feel like it's an embarrassing problem, or it's not I don't know. I feel like it's a very first world problem, or people with money problem, and so I don't feel comfortable talking about it, or even like researching it. Like I can research other problems, but this one, I don't know. I feel just resistant to go anywhere like that with it.
Does that make sense to you?
Those feelings that I have towards it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, is there any way that you can, it seems as though this might be another part that's coming up with those feelings, separate from the initial part. Right? Is there any way that you can ask the part what it needs from you in order to get to know the other part?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Not getting a clear answer on that. The question I normally ask is more like asking it for space or to step back. And I don't know if that's a very different question, but I'll try that one instead and just see if I get anything more from that. Yeah, it's okay with that. I think I have. I mean, I have anxiety around it. I also have anxiety anytime that I'm in this seat on these calls. So, but they're far enough removed, I think, to work with it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, just thank this part.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure that it knows that you're grateful for its appearance. Now, in approaching the initial part, is there anything that this part wants you to know?
Okay. I don't know. I don't feel too connected with it yet.
Okay. So let's try seeing, can you get an idea for how this part feels about you?
Sure. Your audio is kind of getting strange. Just to let you know if there's anything you can do to fix that. It's not too bad though. All right, I'm going to ask this part what am I going to ask it?
How it feels about you.
Okay. Yeah, it's kind of disappointed, looking down. Yeah.
And how does that make you feel?
I'm okay with that.
Okay. How old would you say that this part is?
can't tell. I don't have a very good read on it. I'm going to try. I'm curious what your question is.
Can you try to ask it if it wants you to read it?
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't know. I'm having trouble getting the answer. I'm going to step back and go to checking again with how I feel towards this part.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, okay. I'm feeling good about it now. I mean, I'm feeling more connection. I don't know how to explain it.
Okay. So you had explored how you felt about this part?
Yeah, and I think I can just see it better. And yeah, I wish I knew how to explain that shift, but I'm feeling better about talking to it.
Okay. So when you're with this part now, how far are you from this part?
Okay. Pretty close, but it feels like it's at my back. It feels like it's behind me.
Okay. So it feels like it's behind you.
Your audio is just like, it's like almost not audible, kind of like you're really far away or something.
Okay. Okay, hello, better?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're saying that it's almost at your back. Okay. Does it want you to face it?
Let's see. It doesn't seem to care about that.
Okay.
I'm going to try asking it what it wants me to know again.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. It wants me to know that, yeah, I'm going too slow and I'm not experimenting enough and I'm not getting as much out of life or out of just, yeah, out of life.
Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
Yeah. Can you thank it for letting you know that?
Yeah.
What would it prefer? I mean, what would it prefer that you do to get more out of life? Like, what does it want?
Yeah, it's really interesting. When I first said the thing about the diving board, it just feels so much like that. It feels so much like that where, yeah, it's like there's like the kid behind me saying like, all right, go, just, you don't stand there and think about it. You're missing out. And it's just kind of frustration. But yeah, he's kind of like, he's trying to tell me that for my own good, like, you'll enjoy it. You got to just go and stop deliberating.
How do you feel about what it's telling you?
Makes sense.
Okay. What does it feel as though its role is? As though why it's a part of you? What's its role? At being at your back.
Yeah, its role is one of it's motivating. Its role is to motivate me to do things.
Okay. Do you how do you feel about that role? That being its role?
I mean, overall, I think that's a good. I see the positive intent. I think that's a good role.
Now, how old does this part think that you are?
Can't tell. Maybe teens or maybe teenage. Definitely not my current age.
Okay. Now, what is this? Is this part happy? Is this part happy with this role?
Kind of. It doesn't feel like it's doing anything wrong, and yeah, it's not. It doesn't have a problem with its role.
Okay. What kinds of things can it show you that what kind of, I guess, actions does it show you that you can accomplish that would be diving off the diving board? What kind of specific things does it want?
So again, we're talking about spending on things. So yeah, it just wants me to I've kind of worked with it a lot. It's kind of been a forever problem, I feel like.
Okay.
So it wants me to reassess like the big picture and get a better understanding of like what's my income, what's in the bank, and what's this $8 decision actually worth here. Kind of assess my own value of my own time.
Okay. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, and I think that's really helpful. Like that would be a good thing to do.
Okay. Let it know how you feel about what it's asking of you.
Okay. I'm letting it know that that all makes sense and sounds all right.
How does this part feel towards you now?
A little closer. It's pretty skeptical because I've kind of thought about a lot of this in the past, and yeah, I don't. It's just it's been hard for me to make a project out of that. Or I can like tell myself, yeah, okay, well, I'll just divide everything by this number, or I'll just look at it differently. But it doesn't really have any much trust that I'll actually change or take those steps or like implement them in a more permanent way.
Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
What do you have to tell it in response to that?
Well, I have to tell it that I can bookmark that project and reevaluate that, and also that I'm kind of telling it that as much as I appreciate its intention, that there's a lot of other factors, and so just that there's a lot to consider around the issues. It's easy to simplify and say, look, your time's worth X or Y, and so don't do this. But there's just other factors. So I'm just kind of letting it know that I'm okay with evaluating the project, but there's a big picture that I don't, that it might not be able to see. And so I'm asking it for some patience there.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
What does this part think about that?
It hasn't changed its attitude much. It's still pretty just, it's not super trusting, and it's still kind of just frustrated that like it's kind of rolling its eyes.
What would is there anything that it would rather be doing while you're evaluating the whole picture?
Yes. It would like to be more like rather than just pushing and saying do it, it would rather be more creative in coming up with like again, if you go back to the kids on the diving board, it's like, well, you could just yell at the kid and tell them to jump, or you could be like, hey, you could jump this way or that way, like hit this way might be good for this time. And it wants to be a little more useful in like directing that. Yeah.
Okay.
So that kind of just means like when it comes to spending, it would be making kind of the Christmas list of like, well, here's the things that specifically you'd like to see. Yeah.
That it would like to see as part. Okay. And how do you feel about this role?
Great. Yeah, that's the most positive thing that's come up so far, I think, is like, okay, great. You know, let it get busy making the wish list.
Yeah. It sounds like this part definitely just wants to have a lot of creative like avenues come about. Like it wants to see some growth and just like almost excitement.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Does this be referred to by anything in particular?
Did you say
like
you got cut off?
Around for a while.
You said, does it want to be referred to?
Yeah, does it want to be referred to by any name or anything in particular? It sounds like it's been around for a while.
Let's see. Maybe it's like the go guy.
The go guy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I got another analogy that came up. I've never gone skydiving, and I don't think I will, but I'm pretty sure there's a guy that says, okay, go. Same idea.
So where are you when you're looking at this part now? Where are you positioned in relation?
It's no longer at my back. I can see. It's in front of me. I can just see it in its role.
Okay. And how is its disposition? How is it feeling?
A little better. It likes having those. Options.
Okay. And is that a role that you feel like you can allow it to play?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is there anything else that this part wants you to know? Or wants to show you?
Yeah. Okay. It wants me to know that this creating of wish lists, or like, I'll just call it that for now, that it's not a one-time thing, and that it takes like it can't just do that at a snap of a finger. Like it takes it's a practice.
Mm-hmm.
And so it wants me to kind of build that into that would make it all easier if that was more of like a weekly practice or whatever, of like that type of brainstorming, rather than this. Yeah, it's not a one-shot deal.
It wants to build a relationship with you that's more daily.
Yeah.
Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, a lot of sense. Very, very wise of that part.
Do you feel like you'd be able to? What are you telling that part in response?
Thanks for the suggestion, and yeah, I'm taking notes, and I put a big star around things that I'm kind of bookmarking to like, okay, I can implement that.
Okay. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
And how does this part feel now? Is there anything else that it needs to tell you?
Just to actually do it, just to do that practice. And yeah, there's a podcaster who talks about this stuff that I need to get on my app, so I'm making that note too.
It makes sense that it wants to become a consistent part of your routine, especially since it feels like it wants to trust.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense. And are there any, how does this part feel now?
Oh, more
Just checking
hopeful.
with
Feels
it.
better. Hopeful.
Hopeful? Okay. Is there anything else you need to tell this part?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. So just think it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you need to provide any reassurance, any understanding of your understanding of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just going to put this piece of paper with the stars on it in the right place, and then it'll get done.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
Are there any other parts coming up for you at this time?
No, just talk about IFS parts. Talk about the process.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Yeah, did good.
I hope that was helpful.
It was helpful. It was helpful. I know it's really hard to see when sometimes, especially, in IFS, it's like, I don't know, there's, the client doesn't like share all the details, and it's really hard to see from the other side, but I can see it, like it's good. It's better.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. That makes me feel good because I just wanted to help you 100%.
Yeah, you did.
That was like my whole intent.
You did great.
Okay. I know at some times I might have like skipped ahead to some more serious questions, and I'm like, wait, no, reel it back. Let's build a relationship with this part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that'd probably be my only like major piece of feedback is the relationship building. It's hard, especially when I think with this type of part, or I don't know, it's hard.
Yeah. I'm definitely. I made a list of questions and things I asked, but I think I need to like put them in categories as far as like more relationship building and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I think there's a big if we can just if you want to hear any feedback now, or we can talk about it later, or anything.
Yeah, no, now if you wanted to, that'd be fine.
Sure. I think in the process that there's probably one like major checkpoint. There's one thing that you don't want to go past until it's done. Like there's 100 questions you could ask, and there's all different ways to do it. But I think that there's really just one major checkpoint, and that is that relationship building, or like basically how do you feel towards it. And I accidentally skip it plenty still. But until the person says, I'm curious and I'm feeling compassionate towards it, one of those things, then it's just, the dialogue is going to be pulling teeth. It's going to be hard.
Gotcha. Okay.
So, and that would also fall under like unblending. Like, well, if I'm not feeling compassionate towards this part, it's because I'm being the kid on the diving board in front of it. I'm being blended with an exile or some other part, or judgment part. So you really, it's really important to just be like 100% on that. Like, okay, they're feeling curious, and then inviting that part. It's usually
that
easier.
makes sense. That's why in the beginning I had, I guess we had some trouble kind of getting closer to it, I want to say. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, like, I'll ask that question, repeatedly, like, how do you feel towards it? And the person says, not great. And you're like, okay, well, get some space. Now, how do you feel towards it? Well, a little better, still not great. It's like, okay, do some more work. Now, how do you feel towards it? It's just yeah, it's just like, I can't, because every time I push past that, I regret it. It's like, oh, yep, they're still blended. They're still feeling in a different place about it. And
how do you deal with it when they are blended? Do you ask, I guess, like how you would feel towards it, and then if it says if you say like not great, how would you tell if that part might be blended, or I guess really complicated? I guess that would be the word. Like it would just be a complex part.
How would I tell if someone's blended? I didn't know.
I heard you say that it's like a part that's blended. That's what I heard.
Mm-hmm. Well, so the self energy that you need to the client needs to work with the part, like that's in there. It's always in there. It might be obscured, it might be around the corner, but it's in there. So if you're not hearing, I'm curious, I have compassion for it, then kind of by definition, that person is blended. There's someone else, there's another part in the driver's seat that's not letting self see the situation. Okay. And so it's just really having, I hate to use this word, faith in that, like, if they don't have enough of that self energy, well, then we just got to keep asking those questions to unblend, which is really just about being mindful of any other parts that come up when they think about the target part.
Okay.
I know that might all sound like a whole lot to take in, and it definitely took me about 50 conversations before I started really feeling comfortable with that. Especially when people are like, well, I'm distant from the part. And it's like, oh, well, so bye. I mean, what can I do? It's hard. Oh, well, I guess you don't want to do IFS then. I mean, it's hard to remember sometimes, like, wait, that's a part. If they're feeling distant, if they're not feeling curious, that's a part. It doesn't mean that, sometimes it feels like, well, what can I do? How can I help someone who just, isn't able to connect? I can't force them to connect. And it's like, well, you don't need to. You just need to get the part that doesn't want to connect out of the way. Subtractive. It's a subtractive process.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes absolute sense. And it's funny because I was trying to refrain from asking questions like typically that you would like ask in other modalities or like just coaching in general. Like, like what, just asking like, what are those feelings about? You know what I mean? Like, or like, why do you feel XYZ? But it's not about that. Like I'll try to like name an example. Like when, like I think in the beginning when you were saying it's like I'm finding it difficult. In that moment before hearing this, I just wanted to ask like, well, why do you feel like it's difficult? Like and I was like, no, we should not.
Well, let's see. Let's maybe we can revisit that. So I say I feel like it's difficult I feel like it's difficult to get in touch with this part. Yeah, I mean, I don't know that asking why would be helpful, but more like, okay, so what are you feeling? What are you feeling towards it? And then I say, I don't know, not much. And then, I don't know if I would say I'm not feeling much towards it, because I was saying I wasn't getting much from it.
Okay. So you say I'm not feeling much from it?
Right. I think that's what I was saying at the beginning. I was saying I'm not feeling much from it. And then
okay. And that's because there's somebody in, like, almost like another part in the way.
Right,
okay.
There's another part.
I'm feeling towards it also.
Yeah. I mean, it's possible that I'm super curious about it and it still doesn't want to talk, but I don't think we established that. That wasn't very strong. I did it on my own, and that's the part where I said, like, I don't know how to explain the shift, but I was just able to, because I've done this enough to just be like, okay, I'll just do it in my head. So I don't really know, like, how I did that, but
okay. Yeah.
I would say whatever list of questions or whatever you're referring to, I would try to boil it down to like three phases.
Okay.
And just think about getting those three phases right, more so than getting certain questions asked.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like I was kind of jumping between all these phases in terms of questions, so I have to just become a little bit more organized and stay with the relationship building part for longer.
Yeah, and that's how they teach it too. I mean, they'll teach the F's process or whatever. They talk about it often in like three stages of getting mindful, unblending. Shoot, I don't even have the right language for them, but then befriending, and then unburdening, like problem solving, negotiating.
Okay.
That
makes sense.
Those are the three I would say. Becoming mindful, to unblend, then befriending, like getting to know, and then unburdening.
Okay. Yeah, the other part that I had trouble with was knowing how to phrase what I wanted to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just watch everything that Dick Schwartz does and copy his language. But that's me.
Okay.
And I can share share links.
That's a great suggestion. I definitely would look at anything you said.
Yeah, okay.
And I also hope you don't mind that if I find something, especially related to IFS, I'll just send it your way.
Please do.
Okay. I was like, I hope he doesn't mind this.
No, I want it all.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And if there's any other, I don't know, thing that you're interested in, you can let me know and I'll be on the lookout for it, just because there's so many people that post so many different things.
Yeah.
And I'll send it your way always. Yeah.
Great. Thank you again for today. You did great.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And thank you for your patience. I really appreciate you. Thank you.
Cool. Have a good night. We'll talk soon.
Alrighty.
Okay.
All right, we'll talk soon.
Bye.
Good night. Bye.
Do you want to help bring more self-energy to the world? If you'd like to participate in calls or help out with this project in any way, I'd love to hear your ideas. Join the Discord server or contact me at james@liveifs.com. A huge thanks to our audio engineer, Zikri, for your care and diligence in editing the calls. To every caller for your courage in sharing some of your parts. And to anyone out there getting to know their internal system, keep going. Who knows, that might be the most selfless, helpful thing you can do for others, and you're the only one who can do it. If you'd like to see us reach the largest audience, we must please the almighty suggestion algorithms at iTunes and YouTube. And they don't care about the power of IFS. They're looking for likes and shares and comments, and the sooner the better. Follow the links in the show notes right here in your podcast player to make your wishes known. And now, a minute of meditation. Or if you prefer, pull over. You can do it in 60 seconds. Just click one of those links. They're right there, and give us a like or a 5-star rating. It would really help. If you think this project is helping people, you're helping people by sharing it. Thank you.